I want to have a fight with Errol Spence, and I can beat Errol just like I did here. Hatton. Manny Pacquiao interested in a fight with Errol Spence Jr. after he just defeated Danny Garcia and looked sharp in doing it. We're going to talk about all that and more. Stay tuned.
Tiempo, señor. Reserve. Time out. Reserve. Army. Reserve. Masyadong matandaan siya.
Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. The Cash App is on the screen. $ Boxing Ego. Now let's jump into today's conversation. Manny Pacquiao, according to a report, is open or interested in fighting Errol Spence Jr. after Errol Spence. You see Terrence Crawford in this graphic was in the crowd, but after Errol Spence defeated Danny Garcia. Now, a little bit about that fight before I get into the quote and the news. Errol Spence, he came back after a vicious car wreck, fought Danny Garcia over the course of 12 rounds. I thought he looked superb. Phenomenal performance, especially considering the whole scenario and situation. Some people said, I remember Bob Arum, famed promoter Bob Arum has an interview where he literally said that Errol Spence, according to his inside sources, is never going to be the same fighter. He said Errol Spence is basically washed and shot, and he has on good authority that Errol Spence won't be able to fight. There were also reports that Errol Spence would not be able to walk. And as you guys can see from these pictures, not only was he walking, he was walking the walk and talking the talk, blasting Danny Garcia with vicious left hands. Danny Garcia was formidable, valiant effort, but his face started to bust up. And we seen Danny Garcia almost get discouraged in a way we haven't seen in the past, with punches just like you see on the screen. That straight, that left, it wasn't Danny Garcia's night. Now you have a unified champion. Errol Spence looked sharp, and he was at the AT&T Stadium with a minimal crowd. Well, I can't say minimal, but not a full-on crowd because of the pandemic. And imagine Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, AT&T Stadium together. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Hell of a performance by Errol the Truth Spence Jr. I thought he looked very sharp, very poised, knew what he wanted to do in there, and he was just ready. He was almost ready for everything that Danny Garcia had. He offset Danny Garcia with the jab, with power. He boxed. He just did a bit of everything. Now, Manny Pacquiao had an illustrious career. We'll get into the news. According to Yahoo Sports, Kevin Iole, boxing writer, or just writer with Yahoo Sports, he says, just spoke to Sean Gibbons of Manny Pacquiao Promotions. He said Senator Manny Pacquiao was impressed and thought Errol Spence looked good. Still has the fire to fight in 2021 and would like to take on Errol Spence Jr. Now, he tagged Manny Pacquiao Promotions, you know, a long time. He's one of his boxing advisors or managers or whatnot, and he tagged them all. And this was a couple of days ago, right after the fight. So I haven't heard anything. Like, usually Sean Gibbons, he's active on social media. He would have probably said something if this, what the hell? He probably would have said something if this was not true. So as of recording this video, this tweet has not been denounced or anything like that. So I think it could be true. Manny Pacquiao himself, they showed this on the telecast, which you guys see this screenshot. He put, "Welcome back, Errol Spence. Congratulations on your victory." And this is a direct screenshot from the pay-per-view that I purchased, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. So I know that he was watching and kind of scouting Errol Spence, because this is the tweet that they showed on the telecast, on the pay-per-view telecast, and they showed it. And I also looked on, because I follow Pacquiao on Twitter, so I seen it there as well. As far as the fight, I've been wanting to see this fight for years. You have two decorated southpaws, you know, legend in one, Manny Pacquiao, coming off a great performance versus Keith Thurman. A lot of people thought that was a fight that Pacquiao could lose. Pacquiao, he banked a lot of early rounds. He busted Keith Thurman up, had Keith Thurman leaking. He had him leaking. Keith Thurman worked himself back into the fight, got hurt late, and between that and the knockdown, he lost a close, it was a split decision. You guys see that right there. He lost a split decision. Boom. 12 rounds, but he still won 12. So these are still great welterweight fights, either one of them. Keith Thurman for Errol Spence, or in this case, for the video's sake, Manny Pacquiao. This is Pacquiao's last three opponents: Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, and Lucas Matisse. And he won all of them. He hasn't lost since the Jeff Horn fight, and I don't even think he lost that. So he's on a 3-win tear. He's a legend, 70-plus fights. Errol Spence, for his part, he's looking like the man. Errol Spence looked exceptional in my eyes versus Danny Garcia. It was a big fight. You even had Terrence Crawford, who said he don't need Errol Spence, and he was in the crowd. Errol Spence improved to 27-0 with 21 knockouts. So he's a knockout artist. He's a southpaw. He has a crazy underdog story based on the accident. This fight will absolutely sell. My only thing is this: if Errol fights Danny Garcia, I think it's pretty much non-negotiable that they would actually have to fight with a crowd. You know, this is just my assessment and my opinion, but I don't really see a way they would be able to fight during this pandemic without getting an actual crowd, because you would really be leaving a lot of money on the table, seeing how they're both stars. Pacquiao's a legend. Errol Spence is a legend in the making. Errol Spence is fighting right now. You see it at AT&T Stadium. This is what he says: "Man, this ish, it seemed like a dream. Making my ring walk last night, a year and a half ago, thought my career might be over. Went through hell to get back at this point in my life. I won't take this second chance for granted. Line them up, Al. I'm back." Wow. Big fish. Bowling pin emoji. Hashtag man down. Hashtag strap season. Smash the like button. Boxing 2021 could be an epic year. This man says he didn't know if his career would be over, obviously following the accident immediately. He posted a picture of the accident. I mean, it's not something you probably want to watch, like the video. It's graphic, but that's his car. So he didn't know what was up with his career. And I'm not going to show the picture, but there's a picture behind this. It's a Instagram slide, and it's graphic stuff. His face was all marked up. He had road rash. This is his wreck. So both guys, Manny Pacquiao, he comes from poverty in the Philippines, so he has an underdog story in a sense. And then Errol Spence went through recent tragedy, you know, at the height of his career after he just beat Mikey Garcia when he was undefeated, blemished his record, and had just unified with Sean Porter, you know, so this was crazy to see. So bottom line is, I know for a fact Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence fight, two southpaws. The other commonality and thing they have in common, the common denominator, is you see Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys organization behind Errol. Errol and Pacquiao are the only two guys that have headlined the AT&T Stadium as boxers 2 times. Manny Pacquiao did it with Josh Clottey and also Antonio Margarito. And he obviously won both those fights if you know your boxing history. That's why you see, I have on this Dallas Cowboys, that jersey of, you see? That's why you see Pacquiao with the Cowboys jersey. So they share that in common. Just for my boxing pundits who like the ego fun facts, Manny Pacquiao fought Margarito and busted his eye. And actually, that's crazy, too, if you really think about it. Margarito got his eye, like, decimated by Pacquiao. Right? And Pacquiao was tap dancing on that eye. And Danny Garcia fought him as southpaw, and his eye was real bad, too. You know, Pacquiao broke bone. Errol Spence, I do believe, had he not come from the car accident, not just the car accident and physical therapy, but a long layoff, I think he might have damaged Danny Garcia's eye even more, because his left was landing at will and Danny's face was breaking up. So Errol Spence, I think he did, like, he put a lot of pressure on Danny. I think it was round 8. And then he kind of let off the gas. I think that was a little bit of ring rust. He's seen Danny so far, you know, with all the pressure. He put on a intense pressure. But he's seen how Danny wasn't just going away. So I think after round 8, Errol Spence decided, you know, I'm feeling a bit tired. This guy's tough. He's durable. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him out of here. So I'm going to pace my energy levels because I'm starting to feel the fatigue and get a little lethargic. Being on I think it was a 14-month layoff or whatever it was. He hadn't fought since September. So Errol Spence, you know, had he fought Danny when he was initially supposed to, he might have did that eye worse, because you can see it in this picture. Look at this man's eye. And then it started to swell immediately after. So they both fought at AT&T Stadium, and they both like basically shattered and beat up on the other person in their eye. So this is just a huge fight. All in all, you can say whatever you want. It's a big, big fight. You know, extremely big fight. I just seen a picture of Crawford, so we'll talk about this. If Crawford has been claiming, and his team has been claiming, that they're going to get a Pacquiao fight for at least 4 or 5 years, you know, because I've made videos about this. I talked about this several times. If Manny Pacquiao is truly interested in Errol Spence, and the two, like after the Mikey Garcia fight that you see, I was at that fight because we weren't in the pandemic or nothing. Manny Pacquiao got in the ring. So I think this is something brewing in the for a while. There's the picture. You see Errol Spence, man down. And you see Manny Pacquiao. So they were both in the ring after the Mikey Garcia, another dominant performance from Errol Spence Jr. at that same very venue, right? He called Pacquiao. He's like, Pacquiao, come here. And they was in the ring together, right? So Terrence Crawford has been craving either Errol Spence fight or Manny Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao, according to sources in this Yahoo Sports report, is interested in a fight with Errol Spence. So Terrence Crawford, he's telling people he's the A side over Errol Spence. If Errol ends up getting the Manny Pacquiao fight, like he's wanted as well, everybody wants Pacquiao. If Errol gets it before Terrence Crawford, man, that's going to be even more bad news for Terrence Crawford, because he's been claiming that he got close to fighting Pacquiao in Qatar and things of that sort. So we'll see. All in all, it's a great fight. Manny Pacquiao, dangerous fight for him. He's 70+ fights into his career. He's older. Errol looks super in prime, but Pacquiao's a legend. You know, you can't count him out. Some people will count him out, but they did it with the Keith Thurman. You know, a lot of people are going to say Errol Spence at this point is way too much, way too big, way too strong. But then you also have people who believe in Pacquiao, because Pacquiao has defied the odds for his whole career too. You know, Oscar De La Hoya, he moved up 2 weight classes, and people in the Philippines were actually petitioning to not let that fight even happen. They said, oh, nah, this is just too crazy. Pacquiao's going to get seriously mortally wounded or hurt. And Pacquiao beat De La Hoya up. So we'll see how it all plays out. I love the fight. Jerry Jones is smiling in this picture. And if he gets the fight, I'm sure he'll be smiling some more, because that's a massive fight. That'll be this generation versus kind of the past generation. It'll be huge. It'll be huge. And it's also, Errol Spence is considered like the next Mayweather-ish. I'm not saying he fights like Mayweather stylistically, but he's kind of considered in that lane as the guy who could take over the sport, kind of like Mayweather was on top of the sport. So it'll be almost redemption. So people are going to watch that fight for sure, because Pacquiao, as we know, lost a 12-round decision to Floyd Mayweather. It didn't look good, complained about his shoulder, things like that after the fight. So he'll have almost a chance at revenge, even though Errol Spence is his own fighter, independent of Mayweather. It's still, in my eyes, kind of a chance at redemption, because that's a hell of a consolation prize. You couldn't beat Floyd after 5-6 years of back and forth. So if you could get in there with Errol Spence, and if you could win, that'll be a hell of a consolation prize, because Errol Spence right now, he looking like the man. Very, very strong performance versus Danny Garcia. His jab controlled. Look at that jab. Man, that's that Texas jab, that man down jab. Bro, look at Danny. He running Danny's face into the jab. Crazy. We have never seen Danny Garcia controlled by anybody. He fought great guys: Zab Judah, Lucas Matisse, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Kendall Holt, Eric Morales. Nobody's controlled him quite like Errol. Man down. Let me know what you guys think. Manny Pacquiao. I do like that fight with the Spence. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you're new, consider subscribing to the channel. I drop daily content, go live, normally cover fights when we're not in the pandemic, stuff like that. Also, ESPN Plus, use my link in the description. That helps the channel grow phenomenally when you guys click on that. ESPN Plus, they offer a ton of original content, docuseries, documentaries, archive footage, and more for your viewing needs. ESPN Plus is $5.99 a month for the standalone app, or you can get the bundle ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps for one low price of $12.99 by clicking my link in the description box. Let me know how you guys view this fight, Pacquiao versus Errol. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.